Mr. President, I rise to strongly oppose the nomination of Betsy DeVos as our Secretary of Education. And I want to start by just reading from some letters from some young constituents that I received. From one little boy named Theodore. Dear Senator Gillibrand, I'm a public student at PS3. I love my school. Please vote against Betsy DeVos because she's against public schools, and I'm happy here. From Felix, dear Senator Gillibrand, I am a public school student in New York, and I love my school. Please vote against Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education because she is prejudiced against public schools, and I am in the 3rd grade and a boy. Love, Felix. Dear Senator Gillibrand, my name is Mina, and I am a public school student. I love my school, and I hope you vote against Betsy DeVos because she does not support public schools. Sincerely, Mina. These are just 3 letters out of thousands of letters, phone calls, emails from my constituents. I have never heard so much from my constituents about someone so ill-prepared for the job they've been nominated for. I am unconvinced that this nominee in any way would use her position to actually fight for the 2.6 million students and 200,000 teachers in the public schools in my state. She refused during hearings to commit to protecting the federal funding that goes to our Title I schools, which serve our lowest income families. She refused to uphold critical federal laws like the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act in schools that receive this absolutely necessary federal funding. She refused to commit to upholding Title IX guidance from the Department of Education, which has played an instrumental role in addressing the problem of sexual assault on our schools across the country. She even wavered whether guns have any place in and around schools, and she said she would oppose gun-free school zones. And she doesn't have any experience working as a teacher or as a school administrator at any point in her career. Instead, she has spent decades advocating for education policies that would fundamentally undermine our public school education system. What kind of message does this send to our students and their families and our teachers if we put our trust in a person who has worked so tirelessly throughout her career to weaken public schools? I'm astonished by how little the nominee seems to understand about the basic needs of New York's schools, teachers, and parents. I'm very disturbed about how out of touch her statements are with basic values. In New York, we have over 2.6 million students who attend public schools, including 450,000 with disabilities. We have over 200,000 public school teachers. 90% of all students in our country go to public school. Now, public schools serve all kids. They feed them if they show up hungry. Public schools help all kids with disabilities and don't send them somewhere else. Public schools help all students reach their God-given potential. And public schools are held accountable for meeting the requirements of our federal education system and essential civil rights protections. But this nominee has vilified public schools. Teachers and students around the country have raised their voices about this nominee, and they've made their views very clear. They do not want us to confirm Betsy DeVos to lead the Department of Education because they feel that she's not an education secretary for all of America. I've heard from tens of thousands of them. Listening to what my constituents say, they're pretty concerned. I'd like to read a couple more letters. This one's from a school social worker in the middle school. She was hired to help underserved children develop effective executive functioning skills and survive their day-to-day lives. Quote, my students are resilient, intelligent, loving young women and men, and they face indescribable hardships that no child should have to experience. The ideologies and policies represented by Betsy DeVos and the Trump administration put my students' future on the line. Please continue to represent and fight for my students by denying the confirmation of Betsy DeVos for Secretary of Education. Another letter. Quote, while I teach in a private school setting, my 6th grade daughter attends a public middle school and my 2nd grade son attends a funded special education school to address his speech and language delays. We rely on excellent public schools in our community to support the learning needs of our children, as do hundreds of thousands of other families in New York City and millions of families across the nation. Another letter from a teacher in one of the poorest school districts in my state. He wrote, quote, I not only teach the state-mandated curriculum, we offer elite education programming to all those who reside in our district. I'm honored on a daily basis to know that I have been able to level the playing field for so many students by offering them the keys to success through their education. Students who come to us homeless, underfed, victims of poverty and trauma are given the same access to success as those more fortunate. Because of our public school systems, they have been able to achieve the American dream and achieve all their dreams. Mr. President, these are real concerns. These are heartfelt worries. This is what the people of New York are saying and people across this country. We need to listen to our constituents. We need to serve them. We need to represent them. We need to listen to our teachers across our state who work so hard every day to make sure our children can learn and reach their potential. We need to listen to our families and our students who have expressed very real fears that this nominee will cause damage to our public schools. So I stand with my colleagues from both parties to oppose this nomination. I will not support the confirmation of someone who is such a threat to our public school system. I encourage everyone in this chamber to think about the students and teachers in their states who desperately need a leader to run the Department of Education. I urge all of my colleagues to vote this nominee down. I yield the floor.